If you could be any glyph, which would you be and why?
I would be lowercase r because it's a simple form, but it can be really different every time.
I think I will be ampersand, and I will not tell you why.
I think the G. Because it's the most challenging letter for me, somehow. Also the S is, but the G, I think, is the one that allows me to play around in much different ways.
You just now released Multi, the big family of Multi. And what are your main thoughts and hopes and concerns regarding this release? You know, you leave it now, send it out to the world.
This is a very long project. I mean, in terms of time, it took me, since I started with the client till it's released as a retail project, it's 5 years. Almost 5 years, yeah. But there some stops in the middle because the project was first a commission, so it had to be for the client only for some time. And later I took it as a new project because it expanded much more. So what I expect from it is that after all these years, it is something that people could feel that there's work behind it, like in terms, because there's a lot, but sometimes there are so many phones, so many releases every day that it's difficult that people puts attention in something like this, and not it's something that is something else or similar. So I really hope that people will take some time to look at it and try to see what's behind this system that is a sounds, but it's something more expressive, trying to have some warm, and you know, and I only expect people to use it. Actually, you know, I don't expect too much actually, but I expect people will have a nice use of it, and something important for me is I will be able to see it, because sometimes you have typeface and it goes away, bye bye, and then you don't. It's in my case, I don't manage to get examples of use from the clients. So this is something I always ask, but it's complicated. So I really hope to see it in use and in good use.
Any concerns for misuse of it or something like that?
This is always there, but I think in this case, because it's a sans, I think people are more used to use it properly. I mean, it's quite simple. There's a multi-display subfamily that is for titles and a multi-text. So I try to help in this case. This is for text, this is display, so there's no very complicated naming there. But of course, at the same time, you always wonder why people has this tendency to really use any typeface despite the function in any case. So this is why we always work in that idea. Okay, and what happens if I use the display for text? So then I did my tries, and it works, so it will be not such a disaster. And the other case around is the same. So I don't think it's going to be too complicated, but yeah, I think in this case it's quite easy. Other cases of another typefaces I did, it was a disaster. Like, okay, I will try to do it better next time.
How are you dealing with having a type foundry that actually designs Latin typefaces? There are so many Latin typefaces right now, obviously not only in Spain, and do you try to aim for the Spanish community, or you try to aim for the outside?
As we are based in Spain, and not only Spain but also Catalonia, no? That we have specific things, but that is quite different. The structure of quite different. I mean, in terms of words and language, it's very similar, Catalan and Spanish, but we have specifications. In Spanish, for instance, we have the en tilde, the ñ, that we don't have it in Catalan, or in Catalan we have one character that is only belongs to Catalan, that is the geminate L. So I think we have these concerns, and we have to be the best ones designing typefaces for Catalan, because we speak the language and we know the environment on it. So this is something that we have done from the beginning, trying to look at this from our personal way. Actually, I had nice comments from people asking us, no? I mean, people ask us, hey, can you help me with this? How will you write this in Catalan if you have to write it in a manual way? Which are the different shapes that a C cedilla can have, or, you know, because this is interesting. But I think for us, I mean, because we have the diacritics, and English doesn't have diacritics, then for us it's so natural that we don't even think about what can we do different, you know? So in English, you don't have accents, okay. So for me, it's more challenging when I have to design something for a language I don't know, no? But for Spanish, all we have in our country, I think it's quite natural for us.
I'm just wondering if someone from outside Spain would be interested in your typefaces from Spain rather than local designers in his country or her country.
When I need to design the diacritics for a specific language, then I look at examples of that language, and not only examples of printed stuff, but also online. There's many sources of explanations and this. If people want us to do something, a person wants us to do something from us, it's because they like our, I would say, expression or the emotional side of our work. I also wonder sometimes, like, how I'm going to make someone from Australia asking me for a job if they have many designers in Australia, or in Spain the same. Why they will ask me and not another designer from Spain? So yeah, I think this is a global thing for everybody. But this is sometimes, I am in this moment actually now, like, because we have so many, as you said, and so many typefaces, so many foundries, how to still being able to keep on working in the way you like to work, but without losing opportunities because there's so much competence. So my answer to that is that I started to do it actually, to communicate better with the potential clients. They need to understand much better what you do and which is your strong point. And yeah, so we need to be commercials, we need to do these kind of things. And now we are wondering with Josema and Typotons what is successful and what is not successful. Sometimes it's a matter of luck, but in general, there are typefaces that are there for 20 years, and it's only they began to work only 5 years after the release. So it's a long-term thing, sometimes, typefaces, so you cannot be impatient. But I think that we still have a style, a way of doing, that people appreciate it. But it only came with time, you know, and I think time is important. But I would say that people knows us, and then when you meet the person, maybe you are more like, okay, I met this person, I know this person does typefaces, and then it's nice. So this is something also interesting in the congresses, no? Here is everybody's a type designer, more or less, but in congresses of the graphic design, it's good that you try to talk with our directors and designers, and they put a face to your name, and then you manage to talk to them. At the end, and I really go for that, it's a personal relationship.
So what are your strong points?
I'm trying to find what is my strength for a long time, and at the end, I give up in the sense of giving too much time for thinking. But I think when I try to understand why people like my work, I ask these persons. And people say things like, I managed to do a mix between personality and profession. You know, like the work is professional, you see that it's crafted, that there's behind a knowledge behind, but at the same time, you manage to put your own thing, your own aesthetics things, your own way of drawing. So it's a mix between what I can do, because I achieve some things, because it's a lot of years, but also still trying to put a personality. So I move more in this field of trying to find personality in shapes and letters, in words, etc., etc.
You gave a talk with Juan Luis and Christian, and what would you like the ATypI attendees to take home with them from this talk?
It's a long process of work, and what we really want in this project is that people understand that this relationship and dialogue between different scripts is something that is important for the world in general in this moment. We are having always talking along this project that the necessity of doing things that are going in the other direction that the world seems to go, you know, and that we are very happy that somehow we are contributing to give tools to designers to work on that. I mean, you can think that it's a naive idea of design can save the world, but we can do our own little contribution, no? So it's a tool, for designers in these countries where they can. In the case of the TIFINAC, for instance, is extremely important because there's a huge lack of tools. And the idea is that a designer in Morocco could have more typefaces to be able to express better. It's like magic for us. It's a really, really beautiful feeling, no? That you think that you can contribute to create better communication in these communities. No? So this is what I think we would like to give to people, thinking that it's possible to design in a way that you have some contribution also to cultural issues and all these things. Something that happened in the project from the beginning is this idea, as Christian explained at the end as a conclusion, that is not we are trying to put the dress of the Latin to the Arabic or the other way around. It's like all of them have to work together, and every script still keeps its own personality in terms of construction and relation with each letter. So this is something that for us was very, very important, that they harmonize it, as you said. It's not like taking traits from something and put it in there. And the way we work also was very interesting because we gave a lot of time for the concept, trying to have a very strong concept extracted from this, trying to put the Al-Kandusi's brain in our brains. And the concept took a lot of time, actually, but I think it was for good. It was really for good, because at the end, when you have the concept, and then finally we have this expansion of the system to put things more clear. I remember the moment when this thing of the reverse contrast, it was really too much. And then you could only see that, it's a reverse contrast typeface. No, then no, but this is not what we want, really. So how to work on the rotation, keep on trying to look for the right thing. It was and then it was the moment of doing the I Greek, like it was closed, but then what happens if we do it with the A and other letters? And then this closed A was really something very, very important. So it was this kind of magic moment. And there was also the magic moment when Juan Luis got this amazing idea of looking at how the Amazigh people were doing the writing, actually, in sand or in stone. And then he has his own concept. I have my own concept. Christian is coming from all this idea of a study of Maghibri style, but all together makes a lot of sense, because every script is very respectful with the other, but at the same time they are playing the same thing, the same idea, and we are super, super happy.